Today we are going to talk about a little bit of history and a historical replica that has a pretty funny story, if the stories are true. So this is a replica of a Lewis and Clark Expedition Tomahawk. It is marked on the side of the blade, L and C, and 1805. There are no other markings on this. There's no country where it was made, nothing else on this. This is really cheaply made. The metal is really soft. It's almost impossible to sharpen and hold an edge. Blades are not straight. This one twists off to the right. The blades are thicker out at the end than they are up here close to the eye by about a 1/16 of an inch. The handles are round and not set in straight. They're just pretty bad, poorly made replicas. But that's not really anything new. The world is full of really cheap, poorly made replicas of different weapons and knives and swords and things. These replicas, though, have a kind of funny story behind them if the bits of information that I have read on the internet are true. Now, if anybody knows whether this is true or not, please let me know. This is just what I've been able to gather from reading little bits and pieces on the internet. Legend has it that these tomahawks, thousands of these things, were ordered for the bicentennial celebration of the Lewis and Clark expedition at Fort Clatsop. Fort Clatsop is up in northern Oregon, right on the border between Oregon and Washington, right there on the Columbia River. And so the bicentennial celebration would have been in 2005. Fort Clatsop was originally built in 1805. The Lewis and Clark expedition stayed in the fort 1805, 1806. These were originally produced for that celebration to be sold in the gift shop or visitor center at the fort. Why they never made it to the fort is a bit of a mystery. There are a couple of stories. It could be that whoever was in charge of the celebration and the things going on at the fort decided that selling replica tomahawks to tourists was just a bad idea. It also could be that there was a fire shortly before the bicentennial, so these just weren't needed and they were part of something that just didn't happen. Or it could be that wherever they ordered these from, they arrived and the quality was just so bad that they just decided not to sell them because they are really bad. The handles are different sizes, different finishes. Everything about these is just terrible. So whatever the reason why these never made it to the visitor center at Fort Clatsop, what did happen to them is that they were given to the Goodwill Industries. And these ended up in Goodwill thrift stores all over the Pacific Northwest. And that is where I found these. So it was probably 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago. My family was thrift shopping. We went into a Goodwill thrift store, and there were barrels of these things in that thrift store. There were probably several hundred of them in that thrift shop, just piled up, just big old 50-gallon barrels full of these things. Now, I had no idea what they were at the time, where they had come from. I didn't know what L&C and 1805 were, but I bought 3 of these things, and I had intended to use these for throwing. The very first time that I threw it, the handle just shattered into splinters. I tried to sharpen this one. I was never able to get it sharp, and I tried again earlier today, and I don't know what these are made of. They're stainless something, but it's soft enough that I can't even really get it sharp. It just sort of folds over either way. After the attempt at sharpening and throwing, I put these all in a box, and they've been sitting in that box for probably a decade or more until I came across them, pulled them out. I was going to get rid of them, and was doing some Googling, trying to figure out what this LNC was for, and started finding the little bits and pieces of stories about these Tomahawks and where they came from. That's the story behind these terrible replicas of a Lewis and Clark Expedition Tomahawk. If anyone knows anything else about these, or if you know if those stories are true or not, let me know. I would really like to know if the internet legends and rumors are actually true. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment, let me know. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.